You were never built to emotionally survive a crowded street. Not really. Your thumb is still warm from scrolling. Your brain is half numb, half buzzing. You look up for 1 second at the wrong moment, and the woman crossing in front of you stops being a shape and becomes a life. Not a person. A life. A whole private universe with old regrets, unfinished texts, weird childhood fears, somebody she misses, somebody she avoids, a rent payment waiting like a knife on the kitchen table. And that is where the air changes. Because the problem with Sonder is not that it makes you poetic. The problem is that it makes the world too heavy to carry. People talk about it like it's beautiful. This soft, cinematic realization that everyone around you is the main character of their own story. That sounds harmless, almost cute. But the real feeling is not cute. The real feeling lands in the chest like wet concrete. It makes the sidewalk feel crowded in a way that has nothing to do with bodies. You do not feel inspired. You feel crushed. That does not mean you are weak. It does not mean you are too sensitive. It does not mean you are dramatic. Your nervous system is doing exactly what nervous systems do when they suddenly stop filtering. It is trying to process too much human reality at once. Most of the time, your brain protects you by flattening people into symbols. Cashier, driver, guy on the phone, girl with headphones, delivery rider, office worker. It has to do that. If every stranger hit you with full emotional resolution, you would not make it through a coffee run. You would collapse in front of a pharmacy because the old man buying cough medicine looked tired in a way that reminded you of your father. So your mind compresses people into icons. Tiny files, low resolution. That is not cruelty. That is survival. Then sometimes the compression breaks. You're on a train, and a stranger laughs into their phone. Then their face drops the second the call ends. You watch a man in office clothes standing outside a convenience store, staring into nothing like his soul missed the meeting and never came back. You pass a couple in silence, walking with the cold distance of people who already ended something but are still carrying the body. And suddenly everyone becomes unbearable. Because once strangers stop being wallpaper, they become mirrors. Not exact mirrors, worse, cracked mirrors. You start seeing your own fragility smeared across hundreds of people at once. Their tiredness talks to your tiredness. Their private panic brushes against yours. Their half-hidden loneliness starts tugging on the loose threads you spend all day trying to keep tucked inside your shirt. That is the mistake inside Sonder. Not the realization itself, the fantasy that you are supposed to hold it. You are not. Modern life makes this worse because you already live with too many windows open in your head. Notifications, inboxes, dating apps, bad news, productivity guilt, therapy language, financial dread, personal branding, the fake intimacy of seeing strangers overshare online. You are already carrying an entire digital city in your pocket. Then real life adds one exhausted face at a red light, and the whole machine overheats. Research suggests the brain handles abstraction better than mass intimacy. A crowd is manageable. 10,000 inner worlds are not. Your body knows this before your philosophy does. That is why Sonder does not feel like wisdom. It feels like psychic vertigo. And there is a deeper reason it hurts. Part of you depends on the illusion that your pain is unusually central, not because you are selfish in some cartoon way, because your suffering is the only suffering you feel from the inside. It has heat, texture, weight. It wakes up with you, follows you into bathrooms, rides beside you in Ubers, stares back from black phone screens. Your pain feels sacred because it is local. It is always in the room. Then Sonder kicks the door open and says, "No, look outside." The man buying batteries has a whole storm system too. The woman laughing at brunch may be held together by dental floss. The kid on the bike, the nurse on the bus, the cashier saying no worries, the guy posting gym selfies, the girl answering emails in a blazer at a crosswalk. None of them are side characters. They all have a hidden basement. That realization does not just expand your empathy, it shrinks your illusion of specialness. And that is the bruise nobody admits. You spend years building a private religion around your own inner life, your heartbreak, your confusion, your hunger for meaning, your silent little tragedies. Then one ordinary walk through the city reveals that pain is not a rare gemstone. It is factory dust. It is floating in the air, coating everybody, getting into their lungs while they answer Slack messages and pretend to be normal. That can make life feel cheap for a second. Interchangeable, replaceable. Like the world is one giant office building with the lights on in every window, and each window contains a person trying not to crack in public. But that is not the final truth. The final truth is stranger. Your pain is not less real because other people have it too. It is just less solitary. And that is a loss if your identity was built around being uniquely misunderstood. But it is also a release, because the street is not full of judges, it is full of hostages, different chains, same metal. That changes the way you read people. The driver who cuts you off might be carrying panic like a glass tray. The co-worker sending dry little messages might be speaking from emotional frostbite. The friend who disappeared into busy might be standing in the middle of their own invisible fire. This does not excuse everything. It just breaks the cheap story that everyone else is stable and you are the defective one. They are not stable. They are performing stability. That is what crushes you in the first place. Not just that strangers have lives, that they have deep, painful, complicated lives while still buying toothpaste, replying sounds good, posting birthday stories, and waiting for the light to change. Human beings are brutal that way. We carry oceans in paper cups. So what do you do with this without drowning in it? You stop treating every flash of empathy like a moral obligation. Seeing is enough. You do not need to absorb every stranger like emotional debt. On the subway, in the grocery line, in the office elevator, it is enough to notice that people are real without dragging their invisible furniture into your apartment. You get smaller on purpose sometimes, not smaller in worth, smaller in focus. You put your attention back into the body, the coffee in your hand, the cold rail under your palm, the sound of shoes on pavement. Because when your mind starts trying to house an entire city, the body is the only honest landlord. And you become gentler in ordinary places. Not saintly, just less arrogant. The next time somebody looks distracted at checkout or sends a strangely flat text or goes quiet in the middle of a conversation, you remember that inner life is usually happening off camera. That one thought can save a lot of pointless resentment. Slander becomes dangerous when you turn it into proof that life is unbearably heavy. It becomes useful when it turns you human without swallowing you whole. Because nobody around you is an extra, but neither are you. And that is the balance that hurts to hold. So think about the last stranger who suddenly felt real to you. The one face, the one tiny moment, the one ordinary place that made the whole street feel too alive. Where were you when it happened?